So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, my name is Tina Green, and I am the host of the Wise Women's Circle. And uh, thank you for all of you for joining us on your stormy Sunday afternoon. And there's a lot of people here I don't know today, which is exciting. So I'll just introduce myself a little bit. I am a transformational coach and an ordained minister and a workshop facilitator, and I'm super passionate about helping people, but especially women, cultivate their self-love. And um, and Michelle and I and Thais and Natalie, actually, on this call, we're all co-authors of this book, The Life-Changing Power of Self-Love. And that's sort of where this originated from. And I really wanted to, like, there's so many amazing women authors in this book. I wanted to really start highlighting all of them and just bringing women together and, lifting women up and have allowing them to share their wisdom and just being in circle and connecting. Looks like Zoe's having a hard time. She just came in again. And the Life-Changing Power of Self-Love is a collaborative book. I led the book, but it is 22 authors who tell their inspiring stories about their journey to self-love and what they overcame. And then at the end of every chapter, there's a self-love practice that they share that you can do on your own. So that's the book. And so we're all here. Welcome, Ziza. We just got started. I'm Tina Green. I just introduced myself. And welcome, Zoe. Hopefully you can hear us. I'm just going to ask everybody to take a deep breath. And if you can, if you feel like it, go ahead and close your eyes. Another deep breath. And it took a lot for all of us to get here on our Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. And so I just want to welcome you to let go, whatever that is, having to change locations, power outages, storms, whatever it is that you could let go that would allow you to be really present in this on this call, on this Wise Women's Circle featuring Michelle Vesser. And today I am going to kick us off by reading a poem. It's actually a poem that I got from Michelle's husband, and it really touched me this morning. It's called Winter Grief by David White. Let the rest in this rested place rest for you. Let the birds sing and the geese call and the sky race from west to east. When you cannot raise a wing to fly, let evening trace your loss in the stonework against the fading sky, so that you can give up and give in and be given back to, so that you can let winter come and live fully inside of you, so that you can retrace the loving path of heartbreak that brought you here, so you can cry alone and be alone, so you can let yourself alone be lost, so you can have the one you have lost alone, so that you can let the one you have lost have their own life and even their own death without you. So the world and everyone who has ever lived and ever died can come and go as they please. So you can let yourself not know what not knowing means, so that you can be even more generous in your letting go than they were in their leaving, so that you can let winter be winter, so that you can let the world alone to think of spring. All right, one more deep breath. And go ahead and open your eyes and come back. And Ziza and Thais, I invited everybody to And Zoe, I invited everybody to, if you want, you can put your, your name and where you're calling in from this morning in the chat. And so Michelle and I met because Thais recommended her to me. Thais is a long time friend of mine. And when I was looking for women to join me in the book that I was just talking about, she said, "Do you know Michelle Vesser? She lives where you live, and she's pretty amazing." And so I just reached out. Oh, Ziza, you're my neighbor too. So I just reached out to Michelle and introduced myself and kind of told her about the book. And she invited me to come out to her beautiful spot in Sonoma County, California. And we talked for about 2 hours. And I was like, this woman is special. I want her in my life. I want her in this book. Like I was really taken by her. So thank you, Thais. Now I have this new amazing friend, Michelle. And and Michelle, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, welcome everyone.
Yeah.
I have to say there's lots of people on this call that could tell you about me themselves also. Um, what about myself? I guess I've just been on a wild life journey, and in some ways, I grew up as a valley girl in the San Fernando Valley. And I think the thing about me is what really has been a through line in my life is my connection with the natural wild world. And it has allowed me to follow my heart into amazing places, from going into Peace Corps to becoming a farmer, um, to doing that for 30 years, and did that overseas too, in both in the United States. I gardened in Mexico and Nepal and all kinds of places. And yet I think all of it, I think gardening's an amazing thing. And yet it has been really a huge canvas of personal growth. And I've been able to really take time to find myself and find who I truly am. And I've been able to take a whole bunch of people with me on this ride to find themselves and see the truth of ourselves. So that's who I am. Somebody that is a deep inner explorer to really enjoy the beauty of this wild life that we are all on. And
And and Michelle is also a death doula.
yes.
And do you want to tell them a little bit about that? Because some people haven't heard of that as a,
Well, I will
you know,
talk about that in what I'm going to share today too. Um, I guess maybe I think I'll just go into me talking before I get into that. I think that will
okay.
be because it will unveil itself. Um, and I just want to first say, like, I am so touched by the beauty that are in these little boxes and the love I have for so many of you, and the new people that I haven't known at all, but I could just, that you're here is an extraordinary thing right now. So I just feeling you all deeply. And I'm just so joyed to be here today, and really deep gratitude to you, Tina. Um, and all the self-love medicine that you're really bringing into the world. That you created this book, and like, this is your passion book, and you brought all us along, and how it's rippling out in so many ways, and that we get to be together now on incredible life adventures. Like, I know what that is. And so just so much gratitude. And really, before I start talking, I really want to honor this sacred time of the year we're in right now. We are in the cross quarter between winter solstice and spring equinox. And it's this time that really signals this new season coming. In Europe, it was known as Imbolc or Candlemas or Bridget. And Bridget is the pre-Christian goddess of healing, of metalsmithing, and poetry. And it's this time of year that is so amazing because it's the time where the sap is starting to move back up through the trees. It's like this quickening of spring and longer days. And it's really honoring how the plant world and animal world live out through these, ever turning seasons. And so right now is this really incredible time of us coming out of winter into this new season. And so I just want you to even think, like, I don't know if you're seeing things budding. We have these amazing flowers, hellebores. They're called Christmas roses because they bloom right now in the winter. Just like these incredible flowers that come out in the winter. And there's narcissus around. So I'm not sure what you're seeing and what you're feeling, but the light of winter, we're out of winter solstice. We're having longer days already. And so there is just these precious moments of spring coming. So I really want to honor that. And I'm going to come back to that at the end because there's some wonderful process that I always do for Bridget and many people do. So I'll come back to that. And, oh, my battery. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, my battery's not charging. From, uh-oh. Hold on. I might need some technical Barry support here. So we don't have electricity. Hold on.
It's plugged in.
Plugged in.
Sorry about that, you guys. Well, my daffodils are like I said in the chat, my daffodils are almost ready to bloom, and I have buds on my plum trees, and that's how I know that spring is almost here. And for those of you that joined late, I am actually at Michelle's house because we have a big storm happening up here in Northern California, and I lost power. And Michelle lost power too, but she's got a backup battery. Is that working? Sorry about this, you guys.
No.
Welcome Lynna and Sally, the two joined a little bit late. Zoe, are you in? Can you hear us? Yeah, I don't know.
Thank
Zoe's
you.
been.
Hear you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, you got power, Michelle?
No, I'm going to see about coming on my phone.
Okay. Do you want to just come sit next to me?
I think we'll echo.
If I take off my earbuds, we can just do it.
Okay, let me just see. Hold on.
Okay, all right. Sorry about the pause, you guys. There's Michelle. We can't hear you. Oh, you're still connecting to audio. There we go. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get off this one. Oh, can you see me?
Yes. Okay.
Let's see if I could do this. Oh, I think I'm in trouble.
Take it away, Michelle.
I think I still need to come to you. Okay.
Why?
I will. I see what I could do here. Well, so I'm going to focus on post-traumatic growth. And it's so fun that I'm getting to deal with this. This is the second time I'm going to give a talk and my electricity goes out. So I'm getting to really work on being spontaneous in these moments. And, I think like we all know post-traumatic stress and that impact that it could have on our life. But what if the challenges that come in our lives redirect us and lead us down new pathways and cultivate unexpected offerings in the world. And like I found that there's so much more to the trials that we go through in this one wild life of ours. Like I've come to understand through my experience and my spiritual counseling work I do and my work as an end of life doula that that we come into these lives and we're given these like incredible scripts that we have to work with in earth school, and like we pop into these families, like really kind of strange cultural contexts, religion, educational systems, and we have to navigate all of them. And in time, hopefully, we peel back the layers of protection and our need to cope. Um, and that what we hopefully like can really bring our true fullest selves out into our lives. And we're given like so many challenges. Um, and in my book, or in the book that the chapter I wrote, like I really kind of share, and I'll read from the book in part of my chapter, that life was difficult for me. Like my parents were wonderful people, and yet they both had ancestral and personal traumas, and they lacked the capacity to support me emotionally. And I was often told I was too emotional and sensitive. And these words really closed me into my inner world. Um, and I had these two older sisters who had airs of always being right and belittling me and would comment how I was in the world. And to complicate matters, I was born with some physical deficiencies. I was required to wear corrective brace shoes at night. I had to crawl to the bathroom, and I had to have lots of teeth extractions and braces, and I had to do crazy eye exercises. And also, I had learning disabilities, and the school system deemed me less than and sent me into the back of the class. And um and I had to do these phonics and remedial classes throughout my education, and I internalized everything, and not fitting into the human material world and not wanting to live really became a theme in my life. So that's part of my chapter, and it continues. And yet, I have to say, as I'm standing right now on the edge of 65, which I never imagined making it to, I have had to really humble myself and bow to all the struggles and the profound experiences I've had along the way. And I read this book some years back about grief called Option B. And it is about facing adversities, building resilience, and finding joy. It was by Sheryl Sandberg, and it opened me up to a new way of looking and coming to terms with my trauma. And like most people, when you think about trauma and post-traumatic stress, you have to really take a deep breath. And so much is held somatically. Um, and what she talked about was that, like, that our traumas, they actually can build character in ourselves and become post-traumatic growth. And I've seen that happen in so many ways. Like, because of the traumas I've had, it's actually led me into some of the most meaningful work in my life. So as I said, like how I ever became a Peace Corps volunteer. I did fisheries there, and I became an organic farmer for 30 years. It like baffled my parents. Like I grew up as a valley girl in Southern California, but I watched all the farms and all the open space be covered over. And you know, I went to the wild world for my belonging. Like that's what really saved me in my life, this deep connection to the natural world. And so it pained my heart and my love for the earth to like watch all the farms get covered over by buildings and just everything got taken out. And yet, because of that trauma, it carried it led me into really caring for the soil and nurturing food. And I did it in all kinds of ways around the world. And but it healed me. Like it healed my body, my heart, and my mind. And I don't mean it figuratively, like literally, it transformed so many aspects of my body from my gut and digestion to my teeth to my brain. It's one of the greatest gifts of my life to have become a gardener after all those years, but it was become from like this trauma of watching everything getting plowed, covered over. And then in the garden, I realized that the area of post traumatic growth that really worked for me came from my educational trauma. That because like I hated being stuck in four walls and sitting in hard chairs and being graded against other people. It was just awful that I became dedicated to hands-on learning. And it was a joy. Like I worked with almost 50 long-term interns and apprentices who I got to take into learning through visual, tactile, and auditory learning. So different than the classroom. And I really came to think like, oh, because I um, had this trauma, this 16 years of kind of hell where I was just shown I wasn't enough and I was stupid and I was always in the back of the class. People laughed at me. That I'm like, oh, this is not a way to learn. And that led me into something so profoundly different. And now, like, I can't believe, like, Tina, you asked me that I became an end of life doula. Like, that is beyond imaginable for me. Like, I had so much death trauma when I was young, starting really early. And in the book, it starts off with talking about this that my dad was in World War II. He was in a really amazing division called the 42nd Rainbow Division. And his division helped liberate Dachau concentration camps. And so, I mean, I know why my dad had this, but he had pictures of Dachau on his bedside table in the drawer, and I would go and look at them. So to have a 4-year-old engage with death at like such an early age, and then on top of that, this dear, dear friend of mine, he was like the first person who unconditionally loved me. He was killed in a car accident when I was 17. He was 23. And I had no tools. Nobody in our extended community had any tools to deal with it. And so I was so lost in myself. It was so painful. And in time, I stopped going to any funerals. I didn't go to my grandparents' funerals. I didn't go to my cousin's funeral. I just couldn't handle it. I had so much discomfort and aversion to dying and death. So, like, how did I ever become an end of life doula? But I think like that trauma, um, it pushed me into really looking at it. And as my parents started to age, I knew I had to really look. I knew I had to show up for them. And so I decided to lean in and educated myself around the sacredness of death. I went to I felt like my 17-year-old, I took my 17-year-old to mystery school. Like we all should know how to work with coming into life and leaving life. And so I went to some Tibetan death practices, and also I became a home funeral guide and a doula. Like I was just like, I have to know how to do this. And I can't even tell you, like, this has been the greatest honor. Like now, like I didn't have tools. And now I get to bring tools to people so they don't suffer like I suffered. And I think a lot of times post-traumatic growth works like that. Like like you've had this traumatic experience and you don't want somebody else to go through that. Like I know lots of people that
have been raped and they start being rape crisis callers. They'll call and be there to call in. Like there's so many things that happen like that. And I think like there is something where your character says, no, like I need to be able to give tools and support people. And I know lots of people where that they have post-traumatic growth. Like there's something that they do in the world. And we have a really long-term friend whose son died of heroin addiction. He died at 22 of fentanyl poisoning. And it was so complicated. It was so hard to watch him struggle to lose his son. And it was such a profound loss. He was not functional for like a year. And then him and his wife started this amazing organization called Micah's Hugs. And he's dedicated this organization to educating youth of the dangers of substance abuse and of fentanyl, and like making awareness of this illness and the stigma. And now they help people suffering from addiction. And another friend I know, his mother died when he was really young, and he was so lost for a really long time. And he started looking and working on himself, and now he's a school counselor, and he's helping students really discover and develop their inner resources and dignity and self-respect. And this comes directly from his trauma, that he wants to help children, young adults, be able to function because he couldn't after his mom died. And
Michelle, I have to say, I can really relate to this because my whole passion about helping people find their self-love comes from my own journey of like having so much shame and low self-esteem. And, once I was able to overcome that, it just, it made me, I saw how much it changed everything for me, and it just made me want to help other people
yeah, and
get that and use the ways that I use to in order to get there.
and Calliope, you being here on this call, I, because of Dachau, because of World War II, and I had extreme fear of persecution. The last thing I would ever imagine doing was going into prison. I don't go to rallies, I don't protest because I just couldn't imagine doing that. And Calliope, and I no longer, but Calliope still does, works with the Insight Garden program. And it was from my trauma that I went in, and I can't tell you how profound it was to go in and see who these men and women really are underneath the worst things that they've done. And most of them have early childhood adversity situations, and they're incredible people. And like, what made me decide to break through my fear was to really go in and really understand that. And it's so profound. And so I know that like we have all had, just like you, Tina, so many of us have things happen in our life, and then it actually redirects us into that thing to really help support us, supporting others. And so what I want to do is to have people go into dyads and really talk about like what are things in your life that really like were difficult situations, but turn the direction of your life into another place. And like, how did they transform into unique and special ways that you're in the world? And so I thought, we'll see how this works. I'm on my phone. I don't know if I could do it. um, like each of you take 4 minutes and share. And if something's not coming for you, you just have an opportunity to connect with somebody on Zoom and have like a moment of just anything that I've talked about, you connected with and touched you. So let me know how that goes, Tina.
Right. So let's see. Zoe, can you hear us?
Yes, you're going into breakout rooms.
Right. We're going into breakout rooms, but I'm just not sure if she gets paired with someone. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I'm gonna try to do 5 breakout rooms and see what happens here, okay?
Yep.
So, yeah, Zoe just popped back out. Okay, that's what was challenging me. I had it all figured out, but then she was popping in and out. Okay. All right, here we go. It's gonna be 4 minutes, okay?
4 minutes each, Tina? 8 minutes total, or just four
Yeah.
No,
minutes?
4 minutes in the breakout room. Oh,
Oh,
it
I was
looks like
doing
one
4
room is
minutes.
gonna have,
Wait, Tina,
yes,
I think they need, it's like 4 minutes each, or they each get that.
they each get 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry, we didn't communicate about that properly. Okay. All right, it looks like one room's gonna have 3 people, okay?
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
See if I could come back on. Oh, did you put me in one? You put me in one,
I
Tina.
did, yes, you're in one with Michelle, with Thais.
Oh, I think I need to try to figure
Oh,
out.
wait, let me move Thais to room 2. I moved Thais to room 2. Okay. I'm gonna mute you. There. All right, my first time doing this. And Zoe just rejoined. Her in a room, see if it works. I don't know if it will. I wonder why it's not working. Do you have a regular plug? So we're gonna be pretty close to out of time. When you finish this, what did you want to do after the breakout rooms?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Huh.
I can hear you. I don't know what happened, but I lost my group. So Bodie.
Did
You're
that
mu-
work okay? What happened to everybody?
It worked for us.
Okay, huh.
Yep.
Oh, I
Good.
guess people are just slowly coming back in. Okay, great.
Well, it gives a timer and you can either go immediately or it'll time out.
Awesome.
We were 3, so we didn't get enough time. I'm just gonna say, because we were in the middle of listening to Maylene. And
Oh.
Oh, sorry about that.
But anyway, that's me in a nutshell. And thanks for listening.
Well, I am on Barry's computer.
Barry's her husband.
Yes, I'm back in action here. So, where are we? Well, we have 15 minutes. Yes. How was
We
that?
we have 15 minutes till the end, but we have some other things to do
Yeah.
before the end. So you have about 5 minutes left.
Well, so maybe you could just share, a few of you share how that was, or if there's some piece that, yeah, really, that you really saw, like that your trauma led you somewhere.
Thais, if you wanted to share, if you didn't get to in the room, or if somebody else wanted to, that's fine now too.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I-
We had a couple people popping in and out, so it got complicated. And yeah.
So, I mean, I got to share. I just was, because we were just, mailing had just started. So that was
Oh,
my
okay.
raising my hand there.
Okay. Okay.
But more
Sorry about that,
to
Mei-Ling.
That's all right. Yeah.
continuing the conversation. Do you have something you want to add, Mei-Ling, since you didn't get to?
I just want to add that, well, I was telling them about the relationship from hell and how relationships for me, following that around, has always taken me from one spot to the other spot. And living in amazing places and meeting wonderful people, it was a relationship that brought me to Sonoma County, that I met Michelle, and another one here coming to Big Island where I met my husband. And but yet in that, it's like just letting go, just having to give it up. And I feel like that I'm in a crossroads right now where I've last year decided that I didn't want to, not didn't want to, that I wanted to give up doing hands-on body work. And that's been my life, a large part of what I do. But I realized that I will never give up on healing. And so the healing piece for me is my light, how I want to move towards that. And it seems to be in the paradigm of Qigong, online, being brave about this technology stuff, and jumping into this, and trusting that that we're getting through, just like this this gathering of amazing women that are here. We're drawn here for something because we're holding a piece that the earth wants us, uh, that we're being cultivated by this part of the earth. Anyway, that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Maylin. And Zayza, I appreciate that it's a big prompt. And yet I think if you look inside yourself, there's probably things that have happened in your life that really redirected you. And yeah, I just think like I think what's important as we really look at coming into ourselves and our gifts in the world, that we don't let our traumas hold us back, that we can start seeing that they guide us to new places that we wouldn't have imagined because they did happen. And they're complex. And yet that we're all here, I just want to honor that we're all here. Our lives could have gone in so many different directions. I could have been on the street. I could not be here right now. I could have gotten into drugs. I was into drugs, and it could have really taken me down a different path. And yet, because certain things happened, it really allowed me to grow into who I am now. And I just think I have to really honor all that has unfolded for me in this earth school so I could be who I am today because of those traumas. Like, really, I really honor now thinking about sitting at my dad's bedside looking at those pictures, because it led me into a place of incredible compassion and care and wanting to be of service. And like to see that so early led me to led me into who I am today, really. Yeah, so I apologize for all the computer and phone shifts. It's amazing what you have to do when electricity ends and we come back into candlelight.
When the Pineapple Express happens.
So, Tina, you
Um,
wanted to
yeah, so I wanted to say thank you all for coming. We have Michelle and I have a few things to share with you, but first I wanted to say we have our next month's guest is actually oh shoot, in my transit from one place to another. I lost my spot in the book, but in 2 weeks, on I believe the 18th, our next guest is going to be one of the other co-authors of this book. Her name is Charlene Michael, and she is from Switzerland. And so we're going to actually move the time to 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, because, right now it's like the middle of the night for her. And she wrote in the book, Surviving the Corporate World. That's what she wrote about in the book. But what she's doing now is, when she was around close to retirement, had a kind of a spiritual awakening. And now she's really teaching some amazing stuff. She has this program that she does called Chakra Dance. And she's just an amazing person who has like a wealth of life experience. And and she's an expat. She's going to be coming in from Switzerland, but she's from here originally. And so hopefully you can make it then. I just wanted to mention something about that. And on March 2nd and 3rd, I'm really excited that Michelle and I are doing a weekend workshop here in Sebastopol, California. It's going to be kind of like 2 day longs, not an overnight, but like Saturday all day and Sunday all day. And it's really going to be about self-love. And I'll let Michelle, do you want to say something about it?
I'm just excited that, from this book, Tina and I decided to manifest something, and we've just both brought like all the best of ourselves and all the experiences that we've had to go through to really come to this more whole place in ourselves. And so it's just going to be a lot of fun and a deep dive, and it's going to be here at my house, and I'm just really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we have a sliding scale for that. It's really affordable. It's $250 to $400. And so hopefully some of you might consider coming to that. There's going to be a lot of somatic practices that both of us do, that really, it's kind of like getting it out of your head and getting into your body and moving through it. And I'm really excited for us to bring both of our tools together and join forces. And so it's about half full at this point. So there are about 6 spots remaining, and love to see any of you there. Additionally, I have also in Sebastopol with another incredible woman, Jennifer Sedna, who I'll probably have on here sometime. We co-facilitate sacred journey breath work, and it's a really powerful, really powerful somatic practice that was one of the tools that really helped me release a lot of shame and really step onto the path of self-love. It was like one of the initial tools that really kicked it off for me. So we do that once a month together also in Sebastopol. And I think Natalie's putting some links in the chat for us. And one more thing, there's also a year-long program. I work with an organization called Freedom, Folk, and Soul, and we do a year-long program called the Toltec Medicine Wheel of Transformation. And Natalie's done it, Dana's done it, and it's really powerful and completely changed my life so much that for years, I've been apprenticing with them, and now I'm co-teaching with my teacher here in Northern California. It's a year-long program. We're having an information session about that next Thursday, so you can learn about it if you want to come. It's I think Natalie put the link in there. You can check it out and see, and it's just really incredible combination of Toltec wisdom and Native American wisdom and all kinds of incredible experiential practices, again, to get into your body and out of your head and really move things out and honor and feel things that have happened so you can move forward. So I just wanted to mention those things. And then I was gonna allow Michelle to take us out, but we have a few minutes. So if anybody has any questions for Michelle before she takes us out of the circle. No? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. It was an honor to have you, and everybody, I apologize for us being discombobbled with all the moving around. We thought about postponing it, but then we're like, let's do it. Let's do it. And I'm so glad you guys all showed up. So thank you. And you know, you can
Candles so much. It's so great to see you guys. They're
Yeah.
very ceremonial candles.
Yeah, I have candles all around me. See here. So I'm sitting by a window, but it's getting dark. And you know, if
the
you
person that that triggered my post-traumatic stress disorder was a paraplegic, and she died with a candle next to her bedside. It caught the something on fire. She died in a fire, but that's what triggered me to become a healer. So it's nice to have the candles there.
yeah,
Have the candles.
actually, Michelle's husband
Even though
brought a whole candelabra in here I have next to me.
Woo!
I got a whole setup here. All
Well,
Nice.
just
Well,
right. Thanks for sharing that, Sally. Yeah.
honor
nice to see you. So nice to see you, Sally, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
You know, that candelabra earlier today, a friend was over, two friends, and we were honoring kind of coming back to Imbolc and Candlemas this time of year. And one of the things that is an invitation as the sap starts coming back and as you look at your whole life, like what are the seeds you want to sow for yourself as the season comes into spring and summer and fall and, you know, going through sprouting and rooting and growing and blooming. And so people will make a pledge to themselves and this time of the year of what you want to grow for yourself. Like, what do you want to take from everything behind you? And you know, knowing that there's so much that is behind us that has informed us, the delights, the hardships. And yet, how do you want to walk forward into this year, into this time? And so, in going out, I want to just have you take a moment and really think, what do I want to sow for myself this year? And as you think about that, I'm going to sing this song that I was given for this time of year and to really honor, like we've all had to adapt ourselves to so much in our lives. And how do you really want to reclaim the truth that you are, this true essence that you are? And how do you want to be? So I'll just sing a couple rounds and just hold that. We will never, ever lose our way to the well of our memories and the power of the living flame. It will rise. We will rise again. No, we'll never, ever lose our way to the well of our memories and the power of your living flame. You will rise, we will rise again. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here. For those of you I know so deeply, being in my life and just really seeing how each of you, the ones I know, lives have just keep getting brighter and brighter, and you keep bringing your gifts more and more forward. And thank you. Like the earth needs us right now to bring our truest selves, our biggest gifts to the world. Like one of my thoughts during COVID was, what if we all stopped adapting and appeasing ourselves to this toxic culture and we took off all our masks and all our armor and we really were ourselves in the world?
and what an amazing place this would be. It already is being, because I know each one of you are doing that in your own way, really bringing your biggest gifts, like the truest part of your nature out into the world. And that's the blessing we need. That's the blessing that the earth needs, and how that will ripple out and to touch so many. So thank you all for being the beautiful people you are and doing the work you do in the world. Mm.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Michelle.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you all for coming,
Thank
and
you for
have a, yeah,
Mm.
have a, you too. You
Thank
too.
you,
Nice
Tina.
to meet you.
Thank you for hosting and holding this space and introducing new people. And thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Dana.
I love that I finally made it to one. I'd registered for others, but like, shit happens. But I was really glad that I was like doing it. So, thank you,
Awesome. I'm so
Michelle.
glad
Thank
you
you
came.
so much for sharing with us.
Yeah. I hope you come again,
I
all
will.
of you.
Oh,
We got some amazing women coming up.
Have a
All
good night,
right.
everyone.
Have a wonderful, yes, have a good night. Have a wonderful Sunday, and stay safe in whatever crazy storms you're having.